Hey everyone, I'm Joanna, I'm from France. I live in Ireland together with my boyfriend who is from India. And in June this year, I got the chance to go to India for the first time. And as you would expect, it was quite crazy and a lot of things were different. So during the trip, I kept a few notes of some of the most surprising things. And in this video, we wanted to share some of them with you.
And I'm Sahil, the Indian boyfriend in question, and I will try to explain why things are how they are, and we'll try not to offend many people. So let's get started.
So number one was road mayhem. And I guess this is one that I was expecting, but I didn't expect it to be as chaotic as it was. And would it be from when we were in a car or when we took tuk-tuk? It was really quite crazy on the road.
Yeah, so tuk-tuks are these three-wheeled passenger cars that we get in India. They are a hybrid between bikes and cars. They're open on the side and they get you from point A to point B in very less money. They're very cheap and they don't really follow any traffic rules.
Yeah, something I really noticed is like they would try to fit in the tiniest spot between cars, and if they couldn't get in, they would just honk at the car. So it was really like just really crazy on the road with this. Number two is that Chinese food is very popular in India, or at least in the areas where we went in North India. And I really did not expect to see so many Chinese restaurants, because for me Chinese food is very meat-based and India is mostly vegetarian. So I don't know, it was interesting to see so few European restaurants and then Indian and Chinese restaurants.
Yeah, so European restaurants are not a thing in India, at least while again when I was growing up. Even now I don't see any European restaurants. The most European thing that we have is pizza, and that too very Americanized version of it. So like Domino's and Pizza Hut, so not real like Italian pizzas and so on. So we have mostly Indian cuisine because there is a lot of it and it's really good, so we don't need to experiment that much. But yes, we have Chinese, and I don't know if I should call it Chinese because it's very Indianized version of Chinese, and there is less meat in them, like Manchurian, momos, and the things that I like, I had growing up. So I don't know if I can say that it's Chinese.
Yeah, it's like the vegetarian Indian version of Chinese food.
Yeah.
Next, number three, and that was a very surprising one for me. When I was meeting his family, they would feed the first bites of your food to other, as I think a gesture of like politeness, maybe respect. And so basically like your grandparents would give me a piece of their plate, and they would feed it to me, and then they would eat their plate.
Yeah, so this is a very, again, an Indian thing growing up, even when we have birthday parties, and I think we went to a birthday party of a friend. So what you do is you cut a cake and then you feed it to the most senior member of the family, and like feeding a dessert by your hand is considered like a congratulatory gesture. So even on the news, when a guy or a girl passes a big exam or like tops a high school exam, you will see photos of their parents giving food like directly in their mouth, feeding as a congratulations. So that's a very normal thing in India.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I like, let's say at a birthday party in France, like the people would also give the cake to everyone before anyone starts eating, but we wouldn't feed with like their own hand. So that's what's really like, and I think it's a very kind gesture.
Yeah.
Next, number four, cows and dogs were everywhere in the city.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of normal, everybody expects that, but yeah, like there are a few dogs that live in my street as well, and contrary to popular opinion, they're well taken care of in our street anyway, because whenever we go out to buy groceries, we buy like food for them, so they're well fed, they're very natural. And cows, everybody knows about India, like cows are sacred. There are many cows on the streets, like motoring along, doing their business as usual.
All right, number five, one of my favorite points, buckets and water sprays in washroom. And I think that was the first funny thing. It's what prompted me to start writing down notes. And I noticed this upon arrival in the Delhi airport. I went to the washroom, and the washroom had a little water spray on the side of the toilet. So I remember coming back to Sahil and being like, so what was that?
Yeah, so I think all the Indians right now watching are laughing, but yes, in the washrooms we have a jet spray, and many other countries, I think Japan, South Korea, all of the Asian countries, most of the Asian countries have jet spray. So we don't like to use toilet paper after we do our business. We use nice and clean water, and then we move on along our day. And and buckets as well, right?
Yeah, so there was also this thing that in showers there would be like a bucket with like a handle to kind of take water from. So like I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, even when we traveled to Mussoorie, there in the washrooms of the hotel there would be a shower, normal, but there would also be a bucket with a small container to pick water from. Yeah, and that's also like instead of taking a shower, we would generally do that. Like it saves a lot of water. And that's the general way of taking a bath, as we say. Taking a bath in India means there is a bucket and you put water on yourself. Yeah.
Number 6, different entry prices as a foreigner versus an Indian. So I guess that's an interesting point if you're planning to travel in India. They have different rates. In touristic places, one of the places we went to, for instance, like it was 500 rupee for me, which is about €4, and it would be 50 rupee for Sahil as like an Indian. So it's just like something to expect. I mean, it makes sense just because they expect foreigner to have like a money which has more value, so that's why like they ask for higher prices. Number 7, and that's something I didn't expect either, is power cut downs. And when we were at Sahil's house and also around, there would be like daily power cut downs, and so all the light, everything would shut down for 1 second and come back up.
So this is a normal thing in India, unfortunately. In some towns that we get a power cut of 1 hour or something every day, and we have systems installed in our house where there is something called inverter that charges all day, and then when there is no power, inverts the power back to our home so that we can use everything. So no TV watching or any heavy electricity stuff on that hour, but the rest is normal.
In number 8, there was women-only wagon and seats in Delhi Metro. The metro was really great and spotless, and there was AC, and there was a full wagon. The first wagon was fully only for women.
Yeah, so Delhi Metro has the first wagon of every metro in the Delhi Metro is reserved for only women. So for the men, if you're traveling to Delhi, do not get in the first wagon. You will be booed off and maybe arrested. So, and another thing that you were happy about was that because it was very hot, metro was fully AC cold, and you can
so
chill.
Fresh.
So like metro is really a great way to travel. Delhi, if you're
in number 9, bargaining. And I think that's something that's known about India, but like in markets, you would bargain also for the price of like the tuk-tuk or the taxi. And so I think that was interesting because like Sahil would bargain in Hindi with like the rickshaw driver.
And whenever like we would go somewhere, people would look at her and would say like 10 times or weird amount of prices for a simple ride, and then I would say that I am from here, so don't kid, and then they will come back to default prices. So keep in mind if you go to Delhi that you can bargain, you can ask for a lower price. That's a normal thing.
It's an art. Number 10, people staring, and I think that's something that I noticed, but you notice as well. People would be curious because, I mean, personally, like, I'm white, so like, we went in June. I think in the entire trip, we only saw a few other like white foreigners. So people would look, they would be curious. Sometimes they would say hello, and I guess it wasn't too uncomfortable. I think it was quite normal. Some people also come to want to take picture, and I think it's good to say that it's okay to say no. Because if not, you would have a queue of people.
Yeah, like I want to emphasize that, like, she went to India for the first time. There was a lovely like kid who came to her and said, "Can I take a picture?" And she can't say no, so she said yes. And then there were like women running after her for taking a picture. So when you go to India, it's okay to say no. If somebody's invading your private space, you can directly say no. It's really important skill to have, and it's not considered rude. You can say no and it's okay.
But it's true that if people see you're taking a picture, that you will become the star of the entire area where you are, and everybody will come to you. And I was traveling with Sahil as well, so like I don't know if this meant as well that there was, less staring or
Yeah.
things like that, or maybe more staring.
Yeah, or maybe more staring.
Maybe more
yeah.
staring. Number 11, it's hotter than you expect.
Yeah.
And so again, we went in June, and the reason for that, we were supposed to go in February, but there was a wave of COVID in February, so we postponed the flight. And we went in June, and I think it was 44 in the day.
44 degrees, yeah.
Oh my god. And like, I think I come from a city in France which is also warm and can get to 40 degrees in the summer, and still I did not expect, like it was really warm, and it was warm in the day and warm in the night. Number 12, door-to-door vegetable and fruit selling, which I think was really, really adorable. I had no idea what it was at first, but that was quite interesting.
Yeah, so in India, like fresh fruits and vegetable merchants come on our door every day, like in our streets, selling their fresh produce of the day. And that's very normal. Sometimes you don't go to buy vegetables and fruits, they come to you and they sell the produce of the day. And that's very normal, and it can be surprising because I don't think it happens in any other part of the world. Yeah.
It was really funny, like, you know, you would be, I don't know, brushing, and by the window you have like someone passing by, and I don't know, what do they scream? Do they just scream?
They
like,
just scream.
Hello, Lelo.
So they just
The
scream
fruits.
that, yeah, today we have aubergine and onion,
mangoes
yeah, onion is 10 rupees, aubergine is 40, whatever. And then it's never 10 rupees, it's, inflation, but, you know, whatever. Yeah.
It's like a food market. It's funny, it's like in the food market, like sometimes people would say, oh, I have a fish which is ta-da-da. It's just, they come to your door
house,
and they have everything, and so if you want anything, you just come out of the door
and
you are like, hey.
Yeah.
So these were some of the most surprising things from my first trip to India. I really enjoyed my stay there. I met Sahil's family for the first time, and they were really welcoming and made me feel at home. All the places we saw and we visited were beautiful. It's definitely a unique experience to travel to India, like the atmosphere and the mood of the country is so fantastic and really different from what you know or what you expect. And I would really recommend people to visit once if they can, and explore this country as well. So we hope you liked this video. Please let us know in the comments if we missed anything that surprised you on your first trip to another country, to India or anywhere else in the world. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!